Hello everyone. Welcome back to Loyaltiness channel. I'm excited to see you here. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel so that it will grow. And anytime I post new videos, you will see them. And please tell someone about the channel. We are learning about the laws of Ghana here. Today we are going to discuss the jury system or jurors in Ghana courts. Do we have jurors here? Who appoints jurors? How are they paid? Who can you apply to be a juror in Ghana? How do they work? Where do they come from? Do they have a special training? And all of these questions that you may want to have answers to. So please stay tuned and let's learn together. So when we say jury or juror systems, some of you may be confused, but when you watch a movie, maybe if you have watched an American movie or an international movie before, you'll see that usually when there is a case in court, there will be a judge who is wearing his robes and then his babe or collarettes and then the wig. Usually, the judge will have a place or his place to sit. Then there will be a 7-member or 12-member who are not dressed like the judge, but they are sitting on the left-hand side or right hand or what have you of the court or the judge. And then usually when the lawyers are talking, they will be talking to these people, convincing them, and then at the end of the case, the people will come in. The judge will ask them that, hey, jurors or Mr. Foreman, have you come to a conclusion? Do you find him guilty or not guilty? And then they will come with their verdicts, whether guilty or not guilty. Those people are what we call jurors. Yes, and they form the jury system. We have a similar thing in Ghana. We don't use it for all cases. We use it for just criminal cases, but some very special criminal cases. Example of these are the ones that have capital punishments. If you have to be punished by death, then you are most likely going to be tried with the jury and the judge. And then we have rape. That one too, you have to be tried with the jury or the jurors. Then we have attempted murder. So these are some of the 3 cases that comes to mind immediately. So yes, we don't use it for civil cases at all. If it's a land matter or defamation, we do not use jury or jurors for that. Who appoints them? We have the district court within the area, and then the high court judge or the district court magistrate within the area. They can appoint people who are between 25 years and 60 years, or from 25 to 60 years, who can understand English, read and understand English, and who have not been convicted of an offense involving dishonesty. Maybe you have been convicted of an offense of stealing or fraud. It means that you are not honest. It means you are not honest, and we do not want dishonest people to be part of them. You can also apply to the magistrates that, you know what, I think I fit into this position and I want to be part of the juror. So please add me. The magistrate will have to look at all things and be sure that you are part. At the beginning of the legal year, usually there is a year for the courts. All the people who have been selected as jurors will be trained. Then, when the case is about to start, the registrar of the High Court will come to the court and put a list of all the jurors in a box. So let's say today we have a case of murder against Kwesi. Kwesi will be there with his lawyers, and then the Attorney General or the police prosecutors will also be around. Now, the list of the jurors will be in a box. We are selecting 7 people to be part of the jurors. So remember that the jurors have to be 7 in number. 7 in number. Now, the registrar will pick a name and check and mention maybe Amamansa. Amamansa, the Kwesi's lawyers can object to Amamansa. They can give a reason sometimes. Sometimes they will not give any reason. They'll just say that we object to this person. They have the right to do that. There are some days that they will give a reason. The reason will have to be that maybe this person is biased, this person does not qualify, and all of that. Government lawyers can also object on the same grounds that there's bias, that he's going to favor the accused, something substantial, and the court to determine that and see whether Amamansa should be part of the juror or the jury list. Now, when this is done and we have 7 people, those panel members will sit there, the jury panel will sit at the left-hand side of the judge, then we'll start the case. The jurors sit with the judge. They have their duties. The judge also has their duties. The judge will determine the law. I mean, of course, the judge knows the law, so he tells what the law is. But then these jurors are supposed to decide whether the facts as presented by the accused person or the prosecution should be believed. And they will present their opinion whether or not the person is guilty based on the facts that have been given to the courts. Yes. So sometimes maybe there's a murder case against Kwesi. Kwesi is saying that, you know what, it was self-defense. The guy was stabbing me, also had to stab him. But the prosecution is saying that it's not true, it wasn't self-defense. He intentionally went to kill the person, stabbed him maybe 20 times. Now, all the evidence will be given in court, and the jurors will have to sit down, listen to the evidence, and decide that based on what we've heard. Nobody was there when it happened. But weighing this, is it the case that Kwesi actually killed by way of self-defense or not? And then they will come and say guilty or not guilty. Take note that there are some people who are exempted from being jurors in Ghana. If you're a vice president or president of the Republic of Ghana, a lawyer, a judge, pharmacist who is practicing, if you're a hair teacher who is actually teaching in school, you cannot be part of this. If you're a pastor or a priest and you're in charge of a congregation, then you can also not be a part of the jurors in Ghana. A police officer, a prison officer, a Ghana Armed Force officer, or any of the Ghana Armed Force officers, and you are paid in full, you cannot be part of the jurors in Ghana. Editor of a daily newspaper, maybe say graphic, you cannot be part of jurors in Ghana. Workers of a foreign government, then you can't be part of jurors in Ghana. So please take note. And then there are some people that the Chief Justice himself or herself would give us people who cannot be part of the jurors in Ghana. So if you apply, it doesn't mean that automatically you'll be appointed unless you are deemed to be qualified. And of course, they pay them allowances. I do not know how much that is, but allowances because of the transportation that they may come from. Sometimes the court may write to your boss and request that we want 1 or 2 or 3 people as part of jurors in Ghana, and you have to. It's an obligation, a privilege for you to serve Mother Ghana, and so you cannot deny that responsibility based on flimsy excuses. And so you have to get substantial reason why you don't want to be part of the jurors in Ghana when you are appointed or you are called upon. If you fail to give substantial reason, you fail to attend the call, you may be fined. When the case starts, we start by taking the plea of the accused person that, hey, Kwesi, are you guilty or not guilty? Kwesi says that I'm not guilty. If you say I'm not guilty, that means that the prosecution or the attorney general people will have to bring their evidence against you. And they will do this in front of the jurors. So the jurors will have to hear all the evidence from maybe the medical officers, those who were there to see the crime being committed and all of that. And if they have questions, they will have to ask those people who came to give the evidence so that they will be clear. Usually they have a 4-man who is their leader. They appoint one person as their leader, and that person will communicate the questions of all the panel members to the person who is giving evidence in court. After all the evidence have been given by the Attorney General of the prosecution, the courts, if the court deems fit that the accused person should also give evidence, the court will actually ask the accused person to also give evidence. After the accused person gives evidence, calls all his witnesses. Now, the lawyers from both sides, that is the accused person, say Kwesi, and the government or the prosecution side, will summarize the law from their parts and the evidence from their parts and convince the jurors that, you know what, decide in our favor. The same way the accused person's lawyer will also go through the same process and convince the jurors that, you know what, decide this in our favor as well, because the accused person is not guilty. At this point, the judge will also go and write the law, a summary of the law, and directs the jurors as to what to do. The judge will not tell the jurors what to do. You direct them within the law, that this is the law, the law, the law. If you think that this is this, then say this. If you think that this is this, then say this. At the end of the day, immediately the judge finishes this, the jurors are excused. They are excused to go and sit down, if it is from morning till evening, or even till the next day, until they get the decision. But usually they're able to do it within the same day. They will think through about it, and then if they all are able to come to their own decision, they will bring their report to the judge. Every jury member has their own mind. They're supposed to make the decision by themselves. They're not supposed to follow any juror in their group. If they say yes or guilty, and another person says that I'm forcing you to say this, they can say no, you cannot force me. So everybody should give voluntarily what they think, all the 7 people. The foreman will sit down and write that, oh, we had 3 people who said the guy is guilty, and we had 4 people who said he was not guilty, and bring that final decision to the judge. Remember that before somebody can be convicted of murder, which is punishable by death, or any offense which is punishable by death, the law says that the jurors must have a unanimous decision. It means that all 7 of the people or the jurors should say that, yes, this guy is guilty of murder. All 7 people. It means if it is 6 people against 1, it means that there was no decision. We cannot say that the person is guilty of murder. And so in any case, if it is 5-2-2, it's the same way. It means that you cannot convict the person of murder because it is not a unanimous decision. When this happens, it means that the case has to be tried all over again. We have to change the jurors and start the process all over again. But if the case is not that which is punishable by death, and it is one that you can get a punishment of maybe 10 years, 20 years, maybe rape, that one, a 5-2 is a majority. And so if you say 5-2 say that you are guilty, you are guilty. If 6-1 says that there's a majority, you will go. Now, if they agree that you are guilty, now the judge will have to give her sentence. So remember, it is the jury who will bring their verdict, whether you are guilty or not guilty. When they are done, the decision as to how many years you spend in prison is on the judge to decide. Yes, take note of that. Now, the issue is that sometimes one member of the jury or the jurors may fall sick and may be unable to come to court, maybe permanently. If this happens, the court will have to start the case all over again and change the jurors, because we don't have one on standby. No, that is one of the problems we have with the jury system. So because of this, a case may travel all the way, and in the middle, somebody will fall sick and God forbid, but the person may die. And if the person dies, then we'll have to start the case all over again and call the witnesses again, and this can be a challenge. So remember that if you are part of the jurors, you're not supposed to discuss the case with any other person outside of the court or even within the court, whether it's a lawyer. No, you have to be fair, and you have to be seen to be fair. So you cannot talk to any other person outside of the court or even within the court about the case. You can't just go and listen to news or read the papers and use what you have in the papers to decide the case. No, you only listen to the evidence which will be brought to court. You look at the ones that you have to look out for, the documents, the pictures, the report, and decide whether the person is guilty or not. If you don't take care, you listen to what is in the news and think that alone means that the person is guilty. But what is in the news is not in evidence. And so please, if you are part of a jury or jurors, you have to be strict, focused, and just listen to what is happening in the courtroom. I hope that this will help you in a way to understand the jury system in Ghana. It has its own challenges, and people are advocating for reforms into the jury system that we have in Ghana. But until then, this is what we have as at today, the 11th of May 2023. I hope that this video helps you. Please share with someone so that the person learns about the laws of Ghana. Subscribe and stay tuned to our channel. Thank you and have a good time. Bye.